So in 2013, it was legalized in the United States to propagandize its citizens. What? Like, that's some scary third world stuff going on. That's the kind of stuff that people use to topple governments, to take away freedoms.
Why do people that belong to the Mason tell me that it's a secret? They can't tell me what it is. And you're telling me everything.
I haven't.
You haven't told me everything?
Well, I haven't told you what our modes of recognition are.
What are they?
That's the way a Mason makes himself known to another Mason.
Hey gang, so I've been wanting to do this video on Cult Grey, and I wanted it to be short, but this is not going to be short. You know, it's just amazing in all these events when these stock photos come up and you see the same stock photos over and over, and something just doesn't seem right about them. You know, but these are just some interesting photos, and this is all you'll see. Kind of some strange photos. You know, he's got his sister's face blocked out, there's his mom, and then you see that he's been arrested and his hair turns orange. Isn't that interesting? I know the first time I saw this, I just kind of chuckled, and I immediately thought of Aurora, Colorado. You know who I'm talking about? Just craziness that doesn't make sense, you know, but for some reason there's this stereotype on all of these events and all these shooters, not that they all have orange hair, but there's a lot of consistencies. And there's an agenda to come after what they are calling white Christian men. All these people, all these shooters, all these crazy people, whoever they are, they're all considered white Christian men. And they're not just coming after the shooters now, they're coming after their parents. And I'm going to tell you that the problem that they're pushing is that we need to look out for the next terrorist assault, which is going to be from white Christian men. And it's all part of the agenda. And I'm going to show you how this last event right here, when you see footage from a year and 4 months before when he supposedly was going to shoot up the school, look, there's his cross. And then you go to his dad, and there's his dad with his cross. Two white Christian men, and they're both being prosecuted now. And I found it was interesting too, he's not drinking beer. That, to my best estimation, is a Red Bull Summer Edition. I've done a lot of research, and I really think this is what it is. And look at that. What's on the top of that Red Bull Summer Edition? An upside down bull. It could be nothing, but that could mean a lot. I know this. What's the sign of the American Wall Street Stock Exchange? The bull, right? That's the strong American economy. And so, logically speaking, an upside down bull would mean the opposite of that, in my opinion. But and then here we have Colt in court, and his hair is now parted on the other side, and you only get the camera view where his face is completely covered. It's just crazy. I think this might be the same person, but it makes no sense to do that when his face is literally plastered all over the internet already. Blood on his cheeks, interviews saying when he was going to blow up the school. But look at this. So here's this interview, and what stands out most. Let's just go through it. Look at that big G. And it's not just a G, it's the same font. You can't make this stuff up, gang. I mean, they're wearing all blue, they got the G right there. It all lines up. Anyways, let's just take a listen.
You calling?
So, here we go.
You want to step out where we can talk real quick?
Register to a
You
Texas
got a son
Rental
or something
LLC.
that uses, you know what
Register
Discord
a
is?
2022.
So we got a tip from the FBI saying that somebody from your old address over there in Traditions had made a threat to shoot up a school.
For real?
Yes, sir. And your name was associated with that address. So we went over to that address, and you weren't living there, so now we're here.
Little things, but even the cop is wearing blue. Just line it all up.
Let me get dressed.
Sure. Any kids or anything living
Yeah,
here?
Colt Gray.
Colt?
Yeah, Colt. He's my oldest son.
How old is he?
He's 13.
Does he play a lot of video games and stuff?
Yeah, he does. Like all the time.
Is he here right now?
Yeah.
You think it's something he might have...
I damn sure want to know.
Can we talk to him?
Yeah, absolutely. Now look,
Listen to the dad instruct the cops that his kid's gonna be red-faced and flustered and to handle him gently. Crazy.
He gonna get all red-faced when you talk to him. Just calm, all right? So
Calm, right? Be calm.
What information do you have?
these are good dudes. Just they're told.
Hey Colt, what's going on, bud? So did your dad kind of explain everything to you?
Said something about shooting up a school.
Did you say something about school shooting?
I just told him.
I mean, just look. The kid's wearing all blue, from his hat, shirt, pants. The dad's wearing blue, drinking an upside down Red Bull Summer Edition. It all adds up.
Maybe they misheard somebody else. I would never say that.
You never ever said.
No, I swear.
Do you use Discord?
Discord?
Yes, sir.
I used to. I don't have it.
When's the last time you used it?
That's important, please.
Like a few months ago.
Really?
Was it at Traditions or was it here?
No, it was a Traditions because in that Discord account that I had deleted it before because
Before you moved here?
yeah, because I think it got like it had been password report or something. Like I had clicked on a link and somebody had
Have you heard anybody on Discord when you were using it say something like that? You remember?
like at that time.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think I ever had anybody that.
Never. And I mean, I'm not trying to get anybody hemmed up, but like this is some serious stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, he knows how serious it is, trust me.
'Cause I'd hate to, you know, my boss was even like, you know, I don't know how old this information is, and if you want to wait till Monday to follow up, I was like, nah, I'd rather do it now,
So would we.
because God forbid something happened and I didn't do my job, I'd feel pretty bad about that. So I just want to make sure you understand that if something like that happens or you hear something like that, report it.
Yeah,
Tell your dad, tell a teacher.
like I
whatever.
told him, I would promise I would never say something.
So you haven't used Discord in a few
Oh,
months,
no,
and you're saying you didn't say anything like that.
No, the only thing I have is TikTok, but I just go around there.
All right, well, fair enough.
What's your birthday?
So they cut the sound out while he gives his number, but look at the dad casually waving to the neighbors.
This is gonna do a little report saying that
We
pretty much what
talked.
we've done in reference to this, and that we talked, and you saying that we didn't say anything like that. And I gotta take you at your word, and I hope you're being honest with me. I'm not saying you're lying, but it's
Seriously.
not unusual for people to lie to police.
He's familiar with that too.
It's not uncommon for people to lie to the police, and the dad says he's familiar with that too, and they all laugh. I bet he's familiar with lying to the police, and you just told the cops about it.
Hey, Colin, what's a good phone number for you, sir?
You know, when you see these same modes of recognition, event after event after event, there comes a point in time where we've all got to ask, is it coincidence?
Okay.
How's school going?
I was going good here.
About ready to get done with it?
I
What did
actually
you-
already finished. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
When was your last day?
Let's say Sunday, so Friday.
Friday. What grade you going into?
8th grade.
8th grade, almost high school, man.
Yeah.
The last 4 years, really, the last 4 years is what matters.
I'm just focusing.
Get them good grades, man. It'll set you up for the rest.
No audio here because I guess he's giving his number, which is really long, or redirecting them because they're messing up.
Yeah, so look, you all are welcome any time. We take it like dead serious around here, and I just want to make sure that I'd even feel better if you do find out what or where. Like, can somebody let us know?
I'd even feel better because, like, if we found out where or when or how, maybe someone could let us know.
Sure.
He's gonna be full of anxiety until this gets resolved. I can tell you that right.
Yeah, 'cause I would never really say something related to.
Yeah.
So did you switch schools?
And I love how the cop flashes his little wristband here, number 4163. It could be nothing, but I got to looking at it and check this out. 4163 means iron wolves are lost without Belisarius. That's very strange. So I started looking at it, and Belisarius was considered one of the greatest Byzantinian rulers ever. And then you look up this Iron Wolf organization from the early 1900s, and they're just very nefarious. Their members were secretly established as military, police, students, craftsmen, farmers, workers, non-military. Their jobs were to be activists, to be spies, and to push propaganda. Does that sound familiar?
So did you switch schools when you moved from Traditions? Where were you going before?
West Jackson.
West Jackson Middle? Okay. Is things a lot better now?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. That's good.
Let me grab you one. Can I walk through your grass? I'm gonna grab a car real quick.
Yeah, it's all good.
Are you getting bullied over there at West Jackson Middle?
And there it is. They're all loners, and they've all been bullied.
That's the thing. I wasn't back there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wasn't getting.
Now look, be honest with him about now in middle school. I told him you were now, and that.
Isn't that hysterical? Colt was saying something different than the dad was saying, and the dad interjects and says, "Now wait, tell him the truth, because I already told him, you've been being bullied, so, just ridiculous."
That's
You getting switched out halfway through the school year? Being the new guy?
Yeah, I'm doing that for a while. I've moved like 6 times already. So.
Well, my dad was a logger and grew up in the military. We moved a lot when I was a kid.
Well,
So.
at the past schools, I was surprised that I had friends. Like, I didn't even necessarily have a reason that I would say that or anything.
No.
So now we're going to go to them in court, and I'm going to be quiet and not say anything, but what I want you to do is listen to this judge. I have watched 1,000 court cases, and I've never heard a judge more nervous and more in need of a drink of water than this judge. He sounds like he doesn't have a clue what he's talking about and like he's reading a script.
There is, as everyone certainly is aware, considerable interest in what has occurred in our community in the last several days. For that reason, the court has seen fit under Rule 22 of the Uniform Superior Court rules to allow media outlets to record some of these proceedings. However, under those rules, the court has set in place certain limitations, and I just want everyone to know that the media has been informed of that, and I'm confident that they will comply with that. But otherwise, there is to be no filming or recording by any members of the public or any other individual other than those authorized specifically by the court in its signed ruling. Are we ready, counsel, to begin and bring the defendant in?
State's ready, Your Honor.
All right.
Defense is ready.
All right. All right, good morning, sir. Are you Mr. Colt Gray?
Sir.
My name's Curry Mingledorf. I'm assigned to preside over.
So I do think this is the same person, but it makes no sense why they would go through such lengths to cover his face up in front and back, and after plastering it all over the internet. I just don't know.
This morning's proceedings. Mr. Gray, I do need to inquire as to whether you're able to read and write the English language.
Yes, sir.
All right. I also want to inform you, I want to ask you, do you understand that you have the right to be represented by an attorney in these proceedings?
Yes, sir.
And you are, in fact, represented today, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Zane Harmon, you're here on behalf of this defendant, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And you understand that you have the right to be continuously represented throughout this proceeding, and if you cannot afford to hire counsel, then this court is obligated under the Constitution to provide counsel for you without cost to you. All right, I am going to inform you of a few other matters, and I'm not going to ask you anything, just inform you. So one is, I want to make sure that you are aware that you have the right to remain silent. You don't have to say anything at all. And it's important to understand that because anything you might say could be used against you at further proceedings associated with your case. I want to inform you of the charges that you currently face. In essence, you are charged with 4 counts of felony murder, as outlined in the state warrants that have been issued against you. I want to make you aware that the maximum penalty for felony murder, so for each count, the maximum penalty is that you could be punishable by death, by imprisonment for life, without parole, or by imprisonment for life, with the possibility of parole. If you have any questions about these charges, then I would urge you to discuss those with your attorney. I would invite you, Mr. Harmon, to inform the court as to whether there's a request for bond at this time.
At this time, Your Honor, there is not a request for bond. We will file the appropriate motions if that becomes necessary.
All right. An indictment by the grand jury for most felony offenses or accusations, well, you have the right to receive an indictment for these offenses. And I assume Mr. Brad Smith is here on behalf of the DA's office, or he is our district attorney, and he's accompanied by Ms. Patricia Brooks, who is his chief assistant. A preliminary hearing, you'll have the right also to a preliminary hearing, unless you make a bond, which of course at this point there's no bond being requested, or unless you waive such a hearing. You have the right to a speedy and public trial by a judge or a jury. You have the right to confront and cross-examine all witnesses. You have the right to call witnesses on your own behalf and testify in your own defense if you so choose. As you sit here in this courtroom today, under the law, you are presumed innocent. Your refusal to testify at any point in any proceeding will not be used against you in determining whether you are guilty or not guilty. Counsel, let me just inquire as to whether there are any other items that the court should address before we conclude this preliminary hearing.
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
Well, I do have one piece of information to convey to the court. There was a development yesterday afternoon that makes it necessary for our office to have alternate counsel appointed, and arrangements have already been made in that regard. I've already explained that to Mr. Gray, and alternate counsel will be appointed by the end of the day today.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Donna C. Graves. All right, then with that, this hearing is concluded, and you may escort this defendant out.
Now this one's just tough to watch. This is his dad, and he literally just starts rocking back and forth like he's got mental issues. And then when you hear him, just listen, man. He sobs, and when he talks, I'm 54. It's just so forced and so fake. In my opinion, it sounds completely rehearsed and not authentic.
I'm first going to ask you just a few questions, and then I'm going to advise you of your rights and also let you know about a preliminary hearing that's been scheduled for you. Why don't you just state your name, please? All right, pull the microphone down, please. There you go. All right, and how old are you, Mr. Gray?
54.
And are you able to read and write and understand the English language without any difficulty?
Yes, sir.
How far did you go in school?
11th grade GED.
Okay. And I note that you have counsel seated with you at the table. You understand that you have the right to be represented by an attorney at all times for this and all future proceedings in your case?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that, of course, if you cannot afford an attorney, that the public defender will be appointed to represent you upon your request?
Yes, sir.
All right. And counsel, would you identify yourself, please, for the record?
Donna C. Graves. We are going to have new counsel assigned to Mr. Gray later today.
All right. Thank you. All right. Okay. Sorry. Just need to make sure that the system is working. And all right, so the following aren't questions that I'm going to ask. I'm just informing you of some things. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you at further hearings or at a trial on the charges that you're facing. For this hearing, you're not going to be questioned about facts and circumstances surrounding your charges.
Now, this is just something I find incredibly odd. I've looked at everyone in the gallery. There are literally 3 people wearing sunglasses inside, and they're all sitting right next to each other.
You are currently charged with, and you'll be provided with copies of the warrants if you don't already have them. You're currently charged with 2 counts of felony murder in the second degree. You're charged with 4 counts of felony involuntary manslaughter. You're charged with 8 counts of felony cruelty to children in the second degree. Now, for these offenses, for the felony murder counts in the second degree, felony murder in the second degree, the maximum penalty for each count is up to 30 years imprisonment. For felony involuntary manslaughter, of course, again, there are 4 counts. The maximum penalty for each of those offenses is 10 years imprisonment. For the 8 felony cruelty to children counts, the maximum penalty under the law for each of those 8 counts is 10 years imprisonment, for a maximum total possible penalty for the charges that you currently are facing of 180 years imprisonment.
180 years for a crime his son committed.
If you have questions about these charges, which I assume that you will, the court urges you to discuss those with your attorney. Let me inquire as to whether there's a motion for bond if Mr. Gray is moving for bond at this time.
No, sir, not at this time. We will allow alternate counsel to make that decision.
All right, thank you. And I also need to inform you that you have the right to an indictment by a grand jury, and you also have the right to a preliminary hearing unless you make bond or waive such a hearing. You have the right to a speedy and public trial by a judge or jury. You have the right to confront and cross-examine all witnesses. You have the right to call witnesses on your own behalf and testify in your own defense if you so choose. I want to make it clear to you, Mr. Gray, that you are presumed innocent. Your refusal to testify at any point cannot be used against you in determining whether you are guilty or not guilty. I mentioned the first appearance hearing a moment ago. That is being set for you for December 4th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. Currently that's set to take place in the Magistrate Court of Barrow County. It could be subject to change, but I just want you to know that that is the date that we currently have. In fact, counsel, could you approach, please? I have this, let's see, I need to scratch this out. This document that discusses bond and gives the date of the preliminary hearing, and I guess I could sign that, and then he can just get a copy of it. And then the warrants are attached to that. Sign that. So, and I would like for him to sign it. Turn it over, please.
You know, the emotions could be real, but the judge has only allowed this angle to be videoed, and to me, I don't see any flustered facial expressions. I don't see any blushing. No redness, no tears, nothing legitimate, and even when he cries and sniffles, it just doesn't sound authentic. It sounds fake.
Sign right there, just so you're getting a copy of this. He is giving you a copy. He's going to give you a copy of all the warrants, too. Do you want me to go ahead and give him his copy?
Yes, please.
Now check out how exaggerated his sniffles and sighs get. It's just like a kid trying to get attention.
And the page continues. I'll put it on the first one. And are these his copies of the warrants?
Those are provided, and they say service copies on them, so I assume that they're for him.
Okay.
Sergeant Briscoe, do you concur with that? Is that what those copies are for?
That's the detention center.
Those are for the detention center? So he's got his own copies, or he'll have them provided? All right, so the detention center wants to hold on to those.
Oh, and did I mention his lawyer's wearing blue?
All right, let me, and thank you, Ms. Seagraves. I want to certainly acknowledge the presence of our district attorney, Mr. Brad Smith. He's assisted by his chief assistant, Patricia Brooks. Is there anything else, counsel, that the court needs to address that I have neglected to address?
No, Your Honor.
No, sir, not at this time.
All right. I do want to thank those who are in the gallery who have an interest and who have appeared. I appreciate the decorum that has been maintained throughout this proceeding, or both of these proceedings today. And with that, this matter is adjourned.
The attorney who's going to represent you, I think his name is James Rogers. We're going to have that official later today, but he'll come and see you probably the first part of next week.
Okay.
Here's what we know so far about what happened on Wednesday, September 4th. Witnesses say the shooter left his algebra class around 10 a.m. and came back to the classroom with an assault rifle his father reportedly gave him for Christmas. When he couldn't get back into his math class, witnesses say the alleged shooter went to the classroom next door. That's when he allegedly opened fire, killing Mason Skirmerhorn and Christian Angelo, both 14 years old, and teachers Richard Aspinwall and Christina Urami. School had only been back in session for about a month. 9 other people, including 8 students, were injured in the shooting and taken to a hospital. Fortunately, all 9 are expected to be released and make a full recovery. 2 school resource officers confronted Gray, according to Barrow County Sheriff Judd Smith, and he surrendered, putting the gun on the ground. After he was read his rights, he reportedly made a chilling statement. "I did it. I did it. I did it." According to authorities, Wednesday was actually only the shooter's second day at Appalachia High. He was a transfer student who had only come to the school for part of the day on Tuesday. Sheriff Judd Smith told CNN that Gray had left class on his first day to visit the counselor's office because he was having anxiety. The next day, he was only in class for about 30 minutes before the attack.
So at the end of the day, these are just my thoughts and questions I have, and just some opinions that I'm just posing. So I love y'all. Appreciate all of your support, and thanks for watching. Have a great night or a great day wherever you're at. Talk to you soon.